Coming at you from a couple of low-class studios. This is a feminist and a comedian walk into a bar. What's up, guys? I am your host tonight, Jackie Manti. I am a feminist, and today I'm sipping on some Jarritos. I got a new flavor. I've never had this flavor before. It's guava. I
Mm.
really like the color of it. It's like a just like a light pink,
It's a pink. It's like a hot pink.
hot pink, but like
Good
not
summer
dense.
color.
Like not a I don't know what I'm saying, but it's
Dense. It's a weird color adjective you've chosen.
it's really dense color. No, I like it. I feel like I'm trying to get ready for spring and summer, even though the weather is not cooperating. And this is a drink I want to drink over the summer. It tastes like a dum dum, like a sucker.
Oh, like a sucker?
Yeah,
Like what flavored sucker?
I don't know, but that's what I'm
Guava?
connecting. Guava,
I don't know if I've ever had guava. That's why it's
like a
like
real.
what it is.
I don't even know what it looks like.
Google it.
I don't think I could tell you. Just Google it and try to describe a guava to me.
It's like a small watermelon.
Oh, okay.
Like the outside,
Oh,
the outside looks like a citrus. All right, so yeah, here's what I'm describing it to you.
okay.
The outside looks like a lime, like that kind of tough citrus skin, like a lime or an orange
Kind
or
of
a
like
lemon.
bumpy.
Just like thick, like
Okay,
I mean,
like a rind.
I mean, like I don't know, whatever you would consider a lime. I don't think a lime, a lemon, or an orange I consider that bumpy, but like literally that exact same skin.
Okay.
Whatever you consider, it's that. I wouldn't say bumpy, but you know what an orange is? Looks like the exact same outside.
Okay.
It's green like a lime, but it's bigger like a lemon, and it's kind of shaped like lemonish, like kind of like oblong, not like a perfect circle. But then when you cut it open, it looks like really a little more red, kind of like watermelon colored, but a little pinker. It's got some seeds.
Is it like?
This is like practice if you ever go blind and I have
Yeah.
to describe stuff to you.
Very helpful. Is it dense?
It's a dense pink. I can picture it now.
With
Face.
my describer. Yeah.
Ah, it's your penis again, Justin.
Justin.
That's my gag. It's my gag on the blind. It's always my penis.
Justin Golek, comedian. If you haven't already guessed, what are you sipping on?
Water, baby.
Water.
Per usual for Sundays. Not per usual. That's probably not. Per usual when I'm drinking water on Sundays during the pod is because I drank last night. And also I want to drink tonight. I'm like, I guess like I could start now on the pod and then just keep drinking, but I can't do that. I need to stay drinking, but I also need like constant stimulate. I'll get very tired while drinking.
Yeah.
Like if I want to drink all day, like rare, I'm like we have to be doing something the whole time. Like
Like, yeah.
we got or
Yeah,
even like
like
conversation.
Yeah.
But I can't just like sit somewhere super comfortable. It's get like so I just like pictured like between this and the hang that I'm doing later, which you'll be a part of.
Yeah.
Like there's enough stimulation, so I'm like I'll get tired and the hang won't be as fun. So just hydrate, get like all hydrated up. I went for a run this morning, put out the booze, then replace that booze with water, and then rebooze up later because you know I'm gonna die young. So you gotta live while you're here. So
No, don't die young. Who will describe things to me when I go blind?
I don't know. You'll find somebody though.
That's not just because he's dead.
I can tell. I've touched it many times. You think you could pick my penis out of, let's say, 3 penises? Just
Yeah.
be very confident.
Yes.
Do you think it'd be easier hard or soft?
Hard. It always is.
Ooh, that's more of a compliment to yourself.
I know.
No,
What do you mean? What do you think it'd be hard to do that?
I just think a hard penis would have more or like less
Oh,
texture.
I
Like it'd have
couldn't-
less. A hard penis, I feel like, is less descript. It's more generic.
Yeah, I know yours. I wouldn't. I don't. I couldn't do it soft.
But if it was like a lineup, meaning like I'm looking for penises that are close to mine. It's not like there's gonna be a little tiny penis and a huge penis, and then you like pick mine. Like
and then
they're all gonna be
Goldilocks go like
they're all gonna be about the same size,
Yeah, no, I could still do
and
it.
they're all gonna be circumcised. Like it's there's not gonna be like big tells. Like
I keep telling you, yeah,
But do you think there's something about my penis,
Yes.
either hard or soft, that like you think of in your head, like you have this little thing here?
You got a little curve.
Up, or it kind of goes up, right?
Up and to the left.
Up into
My
it
left.
does go to the left. I think my left, stage left.
Oh, then maybe I couldn't.
Well, so you're looking, so it's to your right, right?
No, I think it's busted out.
No, we're on video now. We can't do that kind of thing.
But either way, I know it goes one way or the other. So.
But if you know that, a lot of penises go one way or the other.
Well, listen, Justin, it
There's
would
no
be
way.
muscle memory. I would touch it and be like, there it is.
I don't know if I could pick your vagina out of a lineup. I don't know. I'm trying to
From
think.
like looking at it?
I'm thinking like fingers, just fingers.
Oh.
Again, like say like I'm behind like a wall and I'm just sticking my hand through a hole and I just get to touch your one of
Vaginas feel the same?
No, but I don't know if I think about your, it's like I don't know if I think that scenario. Like I just enjoy your
What
vagina.
about my boobs? You probably could my boobs.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I touch those.
Yeah.
And like when you use on touching your boobs, it's like, well, like I do touch your boobs in like non-sexual times. That's being married. I just kind of sometimes annoy you by touching your boobs. It's not always sexual. But even then, when it is sexual, it's like the lead up to sex. Whereas I feel like when I'm in your vagina with any part of my body, I'm kind of like in the enjoyment phase.
Yeah.
So I'm not like really taking in data.
You're not getting to know my.
It's not scientific. I'm just like, yeah.
It worked.
So yeah, tricked her one more time. So yeah. Anyways, all right. What do we talk? Was that
Yeah.
it? Did I talk about water? All right.
It was good stuff.
We're
Before
fucked tonight. All that fuck energy going. I bet everyone listening has fuck energy now.
Yeah.
This kind of podcast.
You're welcome,
This
you
episode
guys.
you could listen to with your boo, or your want to be boo. Just be like, oh. If you're like a guy or a girl has like a new person in your life, just be like, hey, this new podcast is kind of cool. Talk about stuff. I don't know. I just picked out this random episode and just play this episode before topic one.
Go
you guys
to
will
the
be
2-minute mark.
You guys will be fucking crushing each other.
Just to get to know you so I can pick you out of a lineup.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, check before we get into a few plugs. You can check out all of our episodes. This is episode 84. We're like racking them up.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
You know what next episode is?
85.
85. You know what 8 plus 5 is?
No.
You don't know what 8 plus 5 is. Trick question.
13.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm kind of nervous about it.
Oh.
That's how CD I get with 13 is like I add stuff together. I'm trying to think of
number 13 in the deli counter line today, and I was like, Justin better not eat.
Ran out of the store, set it on fire. No, I when I'm listening to like songs on my like phone, like streaming service, I'll like if the because I'll like add up all the numbers, like your elapsed time and then your remaining time, so you have 6 digits.
Yeah.
And I'll add all those together.
You add together.
And if they add up to 13, like I'll start it again and play like another second and pause it. Like if I'm like ending, like if I'm coming home or something, I'm about to turn it off. Like I'll make sure it's stopped on a 13 before I like shut it off. And
you also do that with the volume on our TV. Like
yeah, never on
numbers
13.
Why is that? When did you start doing that?
I don't know.
When you were young?
Yeah.
As long as you remember.
Yeah.
You know, I knew another. I knew another guy who like did that with license plates. He would add up. And if it was like a 13, he'd try to get away from them.
Yeah. I don't know.
How weird.
It's weird. Just anxiety prevention.
Yeah.
Just a way to manage.
Yeah, it's like a control thing, even though
control
you aren't controlling anything.
You're
It's just funny because I think it's your one thing. Like you're so logical, like frustratingly logical about everything
But
else.
that's all rule. I mean, I feel like evolutionarily, it's just like an outgrowth of like a societal mechanism, right? I mean,
Superstition?
well, just rule like the illusion of control, because just order, like just the world is chaos and
Yeah.
society
Order.
managed chaos, but it's not. It's really it's like an agreement that we could all break at any time. It's
Yeah.
kind of just like it's tenuous and not real. So it's like you have like your murder, your rapes, your theft, but after that, all the laws are kind of just like it's illegal to drive on the left side of the road in America, at least. So it's like, why? I don't know. Yeah, it's that to me. That's just as arbitrary as like, why don't you like 13? I don't know. I chose that to be the thing I don't like, and so I avoid it. It makes me think there's order in my life. Like we think there's order because red means stop. Why not blue?
Yeah, but to create a system so that we can
Yeah.
all get in our daily lives
system.
No, but here, let me finish.
Yeah.
It's like together, so we all operate together well. Yours is just like a singular
But I operate like in a
control
way,
for
like, but
you.
my point is like you could say like if I went to a therapist, but even if a therapist, like this thing is like I don't like wash my hands so much that they're that's dangerous for like my health. I don't like touch a doorknob so many times that it like ever makes me like late. I'm
Yeah.
late for a variety of other reasons. So it doesn't really like I think I definitely have like OCD tendencies and it's related to my anxiety, but it
Yeah.
doesn't really like I don't think it like I don't like go to bed crying because like oh my god I can't stop it.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm very like let's say at like 4 times a year, I know I'll have like an hour or two. Sometimes like when I'll get just like really I think some people feel like that all the time, you know, but it's so it's like you could say it's arbitrary and you could say it does nothing, but it's like I think like even therapists would say, well, if it doesn't affect your life negatively and it does make you feel less anxious, then it's not bad.
It's better than a pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my thing is that's what so it does have order the same way like you said like that's the thing like we could all I'm trying to use that as an example like we could all just say like all right you could drive on whatever the side of the street but just like be respectful of other people on the street. And then we could all theoretically we could all figure it out. But it's easier for just like someone to pick a side. Okay, we're all doing left or right, and it's against the law. We're gonna write you a ticket or like send you to jail if you do the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like easier to say that. You know, it's easier to just pick. But it's not really like it's still arbitrary. Like you mean like it's making order, but so is my thing. But my thing is still arbitrary, just like arbitrary.
Hmm.
So, and then I think the same thing. Like if a therapist was like, "Oh, well, you're taking an hour every morning to touch doorknobs. Like you should work on another thing to manage your anxiety." I think that's what we do with laws. When it's like, all right, that's like too many laws or this law. I mean, with all the, you know, like we had like so many laws, right? And now we're like more evolved. So it's like, all right, let's not. Like that was an arbitrary banning of certain holes. All you know, like it wasn't helping society to ban those holes. It was probably making it worse. So now all holes are on the table. So that's kind of like the same thing. It's like just managing what arbitrary laws, which is most of them, help. So, anyways, I think it's an outgrow of. I think like all that
what
kind
makes
of
you anxious? Everything?
like life.
Like, yeah.
No, it's like everything they say. I mean, this isn't going to be interesting pod anymore, but I'll just
No,
like
I
answer it.
see.
But it's just like I mean, like I've reached the point in anxiety like that most people do at this stage where it's just like I'm anxious about being anxious. Like
Oh,
I get panicked about the idea that
that
I
you
might
could
have a
be getting
panic
panicked.
attack.
Yeah.
Like nothing really triggers it per se, you know. So that's why it's like it makes it easier to manage because I can like handle stress. Stress doesn't make me anxious, so in that way it makes it easier to handle. Like you know, like I don't have social anxiety, like I can hang out with people. I don't have like stress anxiety, like workload or things like that stress me out. Like you know, like I'm pretty chill actually to real stimuli.
Yeah.
That makes it easier to handle my anxiety. But what makes it harder is that it is arbitrary. That I could be like, having a good time, and then like my neck itches, and I'm like, am I about to? Is this it? Is it about to be all over for tonight now? Like, you know, and then you're panicking about like, am I about to have a panic attack? So it, you know, it's like everything has its pros and cons. But I feel like most people with anxiety, especially like if it's like if they like kind of spiral into like a panic attack, I just feel like like a couple years, like I don't know, sooner or later, depending, you know, it's all different. But eventually, I think your anxiety is about the anxiety, unless you, because otherwise, I think it's more of like a PTSD, where you have like your anxiety is from like a trigger. I don't really, except like feeling like I'm gonna die, but that seems like a pretty universal trigger.
Yeah.
It's not based on some time when I almost died.
Know.
It's just
I'm not afraid of dying, but what makes me anxious is the news. So we talk about it, and you can listen to us talking about it for 83 other episodes at FemComPod.com. You can follow us on Patreon. Give us some money. Help us keep the lights on, the fan going, and support all the cool shit that we do. We do.
Because we have
the fan's on. I was like, what else is on? At patreon.com/low class no dash LO class no dash. Yeah, we have lots of cool subscription rates. You do $1 a month, you'll get free get access to our bonus content that we do.
Yeah, we dropped a Boney app
Yeah, all
last week.
Patreons, we love you. There's a new bonus app.
I think they're just called
Patreons.
patrons on Patreon.
uh, thanks.
What?
Let's get into topic
Just
one.
helping.
I know.
Came across.
A little cunty. It's okay.
All right, topic one.
Yeah.
Let's kick it.
One is my pick. I I was trying to look for something about all these like terrible abortion restrictions that are happening, but we've covered that so much, and I think we basically everyone we feel.
Yeah.
So I found
I
was
have like thoughts, but yeah,
so as I was clicking through
maybe
it,
bonus episode.
yeah, I found this super funny headline and read it, and I just thought it'd be interesting about. The headline is "When Prom Alone Isn't Enough, the Prom Send-Off." So apparently, prom send-offs parties are like big events, basically like a party before the kids go to prom.
Okay.
And it's on NPR, and it's like they're following this woman who is like a prom send.
Okay.
Like it's a whole thing, like an event planner basically.
Right.
But she said that in recent years, prom send-offs have become bigger and more extravagant. Some families thousands of dollars renting banquet halls and luxury cars. They just get bigger and larger, from helicopters to Lamborghinis and Porsches, she said. And the one that they showcase in the article, like the anecdote, is this like couple and all their families are there taking pictures with their phone, and like the theme send-off party was royalty. They had like this couple's name, like, and they had gift bags for everyone, and like little
like,
treats. It was like a wedding
just
party,
just funny
basically.
that type of party for like the least impactful of your
Relationship,
life.
right? Your prom date, and like T-shirts that said their names, and like what pressure though? Like, what if you wanted to
Yeah.
break up?
I think you kind of like answered it though. This is how it always comes about. It was like the idea like Valentine's Day was created by the
Oh yeah,
greeting card companies, you know what I mean? And like stuff like that. It's like, I mean, you already said it in like the first line. It's like, you know, this was obviously like event
it's a
planners
business.
that were like,
Yeah,
all right, well, like wedding season doesn't really kick off till June, and we're coming off kind of like a winter lull where we're not planning a lot of stuff like between Christmas and wedding season. Is there anything going on in like April or May that we could like kind of pitch to people to make money? And it's like
yeah,
prom, and that's why like just as much as like sweet, it's more sweetest day even than Valentine's. This is kind of quickly and kind of and just kind of like sneaky that they kind of come into our normal lexicon. Like it's just the same thing. It's like, you know, like they just, I guarantee that's how they work it is they're just like go, you know, they're just find something into these rich people and just go like,
well,
yeah, well, I don't know, like we're having like a lot, you know, prom send off things are kind of big, and then apparently what's a prom send? Oh yeah, it's like a really normal thing that I just made up a year ago. I you never heard of it.
well, I think
We have really great rates if it's something you're looking into.
our prom send-off package, just for you. But actually, well, the article was talking about how it's really it's like really popular in African American communities, and the couple they were profiling, they mentioned that they're like working class, but the parents had spent about $1,200 on his send off. Tatiana followed a list of requests her son made, but she said she vetoed a few things like a throne and a crown. I'm not going to rent a chair for him to sit in for 15 minutes, she said. He also wanted a red Mercedes Benz rented for him, so we had to veto that as well. But do you know, like, people will probably do that.
Yeah.
They'll have the crown and the throne. But to play devil's advocate to you, because I totally think the same thing. I'm like, this is it's just capitalism run amok of like, but
It's
there's
fine.
there's a
I
lot of
respect a hustle,
totally.
but you know,
No, there's a lot
it's
of
still
reasons
dumb.
that I think play into this socially too, like
Yeah.
not beyond just the fact that we have all of this Dollar Tree that you can then like put together on a gift table, but the woman that they were interviewing, she said she was proud to see her kids make it through high school despite the challenges they face growing up in a rough neighborhood. The way they take to school to see those little makeshift memorials and people were dying where my children were catching the bus. I am just thankful that they didn't become a product of their environment. The kids need to be celebrated, Tiana said. They don't want to feel like they worked this hard for nothing and nobody is paying attention. When they do their part, our job as parents is to do our part. So I get it, but like also, it's funny that she says they don't want to feel like they work this hard for nothing and nobody is paying attention. Like, welcome to being an adult. Like,
I
you're
mean,
going to work really hard,
that
no
is
one's going to pay
positive
attention.
that it's based on merit.
And like
Like
celebrating.
if your kid gets
Sure.
good, like that as a reward for like grades or some other achievement or whatever. Like that's not totally cool. It's just I feel like this is just like this is I think where like populist revolt in this country is coming from.
Yeah.
And also, but like why it's like for someone like me, it's like it's not all bad, but this is like definitely like why we need aspects of socialism in the culture. And like there comes a point when like I just feel like there comes a point when it's like when you're spending things on money, when you're spending money on things, sorry, that make your life like objectively better outside of your class of needs. I think that's like positive. Like I think the idea of like austerity and just like people just living at their needs level with like no comfort and even some like just like some kind of just wants and just pleasures and kind of just like just the base idea that this is the only time like this life. So it shouldn't be all just like, well, I have enough food and I have shelter. Like but like that's why I think I don't know something like a massage because like you're getting like a real like you get pleasure benefits and health benefits and it's like like
Taking
things
time to
like
yourself.
the idea of like self-care. So that again like the idea of like I don't know like extravagances without a better but then like I feel like then as you start seeing like more and more like ultra people and like wealth kind of getting like it into few people, it's like you see people like doing extravagant things where it's like, do you even? I don't see like pleasure. So now it just feels like there's people with nothing, there's people with everything, and the people with everything are spending money on things they don't even in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so many people with so little.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, how could you be against any sort of like wealth redistribution, even if it's just through like taxes and public services?
Sure.
Because it's like, no, like reasonable way.
Or
like
so they say. I
listen.
don't know.
I don't know, but I guess like listening to that woman talk, like, hey, it's like a reward for achievement. All right, like that's good. Take more, and also that is like again, like that idea of like sensible expenditure of like he wants but I can realize like he won't enjoy like he'll enjoy that for 15 seconds then forget it. So that's like a waste of money.
Yeah.
There's still some form of just like rational money management to like your extravagancies. So it's still like you're still like evaluating expenditures on like a risk reward basis. So it feels like less gross.
Yeah. And I feel like there has to be something anthropological here, right? Of like rites of passage and this longing for having a community event, like we don't have I don't know, I feel it's interesting that in the past 5 to 10 more things like extra life celebrations have started becoming things and I think a lot of different factors attribute to that. Like we've said, social media, you can post photos of all, but you can live stream your gender reveal party. You can people, and that's not just like like an ego thing. I think also, you're scared of the country and you have people you love all over the place. You want them to see stuff. Like I all of it, but like I think also there's just I think as we feel more and more divided as people just like sort of like I can't control anything talking about right but I can have a party for my kid at this fucking prom, like I can do a baby shower that's so extravagant that I don't know how awful the rest of the world feels or like that there
I
don't go to church anymore but I want to
yeah.
hang out with this community so
I
here's a
think the
party.
last this though that feels in this like this is the topic. So I know it's revolved around kind of maybe like celebration in general and waste extravagance, but I would
Yeah.
say in this particular thing to stay on like the specific topic, I don't think I would do this for my kid.
No,
And I
no
think
way.
it's dumb and it's because I feel
Prom is stupid.
sometimes no, I feel like sometimes it's just we have like a belief as a generality that I think is wise or like makes sense, and then for some reason we can like abandon it and not really like realize it. And so for something like this, it's like wasn't the old trope kind of like, you know, the high school football player who like who like, his best time was age 16 to 18 being the quarterback of the football team, and like that was like he's 32 now and he's like never had a better day than and never will.
Yeah.
Or the same like the high school cheerleader or like just all like stuck in high school. And so to me the idea is like prom had some like okay moments, but it was like it was either just shitty. School is not supposed to be the best time of your life for anybody. And the times that were fun, I'm like, well, I had way funner times after that.
Yeah.
And like still do at times. And like, just like life is like again, like why would you do anything for your child to set them in a position where like this moment in high school could be like a peak for them? You know what I mean? Like that's what
Right.
it feels weird to me. It's like
Yeah, it feels
give me a throne, give me a Mercedes. It's like, dude, you're 18. Like you could like a Mercedes isn't that expensive. Like it's like a what? Like a $7,000 car. Like you could lease one with like a job that's decent. Like you know what I mean? Like if those are your goals, just like get a Mercedes when you're 32 and be like, this is way better than having one for a night when I was 18.
yeah.
Especially like if the weird kind of negative of that might be like that lose that kind of drive for a Mercedes because you just had one for a night. You know what I mean? Like the same way like the guy that was the football star like never really wanted for more than his like insurance salesman job in that same town because he's like I already had a pretty good night, and then he kind of just gives up on it. And I feel like the same thing about like, well, I already had everyone taking pictures of me and like adoring me and I rode in a great car. Like I could like just, kind of nip at the heels of your ambition in general. But even if it doesn't, it's just like I wouldn't like ever I would whether they had a shitty high school experience or an amazing one, I don't think it matters. Just never try to do anything, enact any action that would lead my child to believe that like this is
This
the
is the
best
best
time of
time.
your life.
right.
It's just like I would impart like you should always try to have fun. Like I enjoyed my friends in high school and like I hung out with some of them during prom and after prom and that kind of made it fun. But it was still
Mhm.
like, you're still like 18. There's not really much you can do. And even the stuff you sneak and do like, drinking or whatever, it's like, you drinking shitty warm beer that you had to get your cousin to buy you, like you're having the worst sex you've ever had in your life. It's like you've barely had any, but then like again, after even a half dozen more sexual experiences, even you're like, oh, that was the worst. And especially once you're adult, like just everything kind of like doing above your pay grade is the worst version of it. Slash, you just the stuff you just can't really do, so you're just like hampered by the restriction, which is like that's fine because like you're 18, you have if even if you're unlucky, like 40 to 50 more years to live, like be pretty good. So I don't know if it just feels like a weird parental move to just
Well, it doesn't
even
feel about the kids. It feels that's about the parents. They
maybe
want to be.
I don't
I get.
know,
I
but
what makes me feel kind of icky about it, other than like honestly the wastefulness of it. But whatever. That's people. I'm sure I waste in ways people would judge me for. But um, I just don't like that you're making such a big deal of something that is that seems so superficial. You know what I mean? Like it puts so much pressure on a relationship of two people that doesn't need to be
that's
there,
true
and
too.
like an already sort of um
Well, that feels like what the
like an already
promposals are. Do you feel like
yeah.
that's even
Oh, I
more of
think
what?
gross.
Right.
Like so weird. And not just on the kids who are the couple with all of that attention with their names on shirts together. Like think about the other kids who just don't have anyone
Right.
prom with a lover, like
Right.
it
The
just feels
uggos.
so weird like to put that much emphasis on what is essentially a romantic scenario.
Well,
You
that's
know what I
what's
mean?
like.
Like
I
it's
mean,
not
that's
just a
like where we're
party. It's
just like
like
failing our children in terms
yeah.
of information because it's like, I mean, I feel like again, it's like it's like that Bob Seger song. You should just be working
Mm.
on your night moves.
I love it when you quote some Bob
It should just
Seger.
be moves, and that's like to me, it's like that's what high school and honestly college. Like I know some people get married out of college, which is like, I feel like not the worst thing. Honestly, probably not the best, but like, um, like I feel like your high school relationship, like, and I was there. I know when you're in it, you're like, this is love, and this is, I can't even imagine anything better than this. Like, I get that. That's why
Yeah.
as adults, you're supposed
Yeah.
to be like kind of just impart,
Temper it. Yeah.
but temper it. But again,
Right, but
adults would temper it in a way where it would just create this kind of like a thing where it's like, that's not, you're fucking just a child. And then, you know, and like, what I mean? Like, they would just dismiss your
yeah, and
feelings.
that's not good
Where I
either.
feel like
Right.
you should be telling them like what you're doing is basically like open micing relationships on these people. You know what I mean? Like
What does that mean?
you're like working out what love is, what communication is, what like trust is, what sex is, like what
Sure.
intimacy is. Like you're working like I that you would get, like that's the point. It's like it doesn't matter how much you have in common or how much you care about this person you meet in high school. Like you're still like the chance that you would get all those things like intimacy, love, trust, respect. The fact that you get those all right on your first try is incomprehensible. Life, it's like that's not what that relationship should be concerned on. You know what I mean? Like you should kind of enjoy that love feeling you have for that person, but realize like this is more about me learning even what love is. You know what I mean? And it's not really about the actual love I have. It's
Mm-hmm.
about like learning what love is and like us making mistakes on each other to like make us better. That's kind of like what these relationships should be about. So it's like you said, like to put any heaviness on like that. That's a good way to put it. Like it's just like it's not in the it's like because to me the same way the dad goes, you can't date him, and then you just all you want to do is date him and like say like you don't
Yeah.
understand I love him. It's just as kind of destructive to be like you should propose to her. Like that's just as destructive because you're either not taking their feelings at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're realizing they're elevated, but instead of like showing that elevation and being like, look, like this is why you're feeling that, but it is still real to you, and you should enjoy that and learn from it. Instead of like tempering the love, in a constructive way, you're blown. To me, the dad can't hate him is just as dangerous as the mom going like you
Yeah.
should propose because it's like well now you're taking their relationship way too seriously and you're putting like you said like not even like taking it seriously like like I said like some sort of thing like it's like you said like the pressure
Mm-hmm.
you're putting this pressure on
Mm-hmm.
them
And
to like we spent $3,000 on your
yeah.
prom and now you
Well,
guys are
that's
gonna break
I was gonna say that
fuck
I feel like it's just from a female experience. I know that as a young woman in high school, you already sort of feel like you don't know how to ask for what you want, and you're still kind of a child. You want to please these adults, and like
yeah
if you add that element of um. Even if it's not stated, do you know what I mean? Like you could even just say like I love you no matter, even if you break up. Like you're still putting a weird pressure on someone who doesn't have the vocabulary or language or even self-awareness. That's what they're figuring out in this. Like you said, not just love, you're figuring out how to break up and when to and when is too far. It makes me just so itchy of like what if they're in like a sort of like abusive relationship and they don't know how to leave because they
right
wouldn't yet because they're in high school and like now you as parents are putting their names on a shirt. Like it's just
yeah
weird and I it seems um it seems like a that it's not I know that this is for the children, right? Like you're putting their names on you, but again it's just something so much of again I'm not a parent, I don't know what this feels like, but so much of these things feel like it's just about the parent, it's not about the kid, and this is another one of those things where it's like just have a community block. Like need to make it this
yeah.
strange.
It's like about like the competition of the parents with other parents too.
Yeah.
So it's not even that. It's not even that.
And then on social media, like the
Right.
kids, like
That's
look
why. So
and
it's not
post
even
these
like an idea.
photos.
I feel like we were kind of maybe like overparented in a way. I feel like this is like, oh, Sammy's mom did a giant, we're do it more giant. So you like you said, it's just
It
gross.
just I feel
It's not
like
even about the kids.
too I think it's such a thing of our time where we have had almost 2 decades of reality TV and seeing shows like I don't know, from My Super Sweet 16 to like Real Housewives to I don't know, like even House Hunters stuff where you're decorating this house and all this shit, and like it just elevates your expectations of what life is supposed to look like and what a good life looks like and what spending money on yourself should be. And it's for these experiences and for looks and for what you can share and show on social media. And I don't know. Part of me just revolts against that so strongly because it's not even that it feels superficial because I think there's love there. It just feels misguided,
Yeah.
and it feels like we're gonna pay for that, you know, beyond the $1,200
All right.
for baggies.
Big two. So Uber went public on Wednesday, I believe, right?
Thursday.
I think it was Wednesday
Okay.
because that's when the strike was. So Uber had an IPO, which is, I believe, an initial public offering, right?
Oh, good job.
Yeah. So it's basically like when a company goes public for the first time, meaning like they're on the stock exchange and you could buy shares in the company and whatnot. So it's usually thought of like a kind of a big event because like if you think of like, oh, this company is going to be a huge company, IPO, like it's kind of initial public offering, meaning it's kind of like the initial valuation of the company where you can buy in at that. So being like, if you think it's going to be a big company, this is like probably the lowest price you'll ever get for it because it's just going to be going up and up and up. So obviously, like people want like a big day. People want like that day and that week to just be like huge. Like lots of people are buying in, and like the valuation because of that keeps going up and all that shit. So Uber on Wednesday, and it was kind of in unison with Uber around the world struck on Wednesday. So
Mm,
is that the was that
they
the
went
past tense?
went on
Went
strike.
on strike? I
Yeah,
like struck. So they struck on
it's a
Wednesday,
little
and
confusing.
um, basically Uber drivers were encouraged not to drive all around the world, and normal humans were encouraged to not take rideshare if they did not need to do anything else but that. So, um, I and like not saying this is connected to that, and that's kind of like what the topic is about, but basically, let's see. According to the University of Florida professor Jay Ritter, Uber's 7.62% decline since hitting the SE makes it bigger than first day dollar losses for any prior IPO in the US. So, um,
So it didn't do well.
percentage wise, it's not the biggest decline in history, but because Uber had such a giant valuation, they're talking about the percentage in dollars, which is about $617 million. It
Woo!
dropped in valuation, so almost like over $500 million
Wow.
dropped in value from Wednesday until whenever this article came out, which is Friday. So 2 days. 2 days they lost $500 million. But like I said, it's yeah, like and they said it kind of debuted low. So Uber's debut valuation was 7.65 billion. And before it went public, it was estimated that the company would value around 90 to 120 billion. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I think probably the economics of rideshare in general and the new tech economy and kind of these loss leader companies that still kind of like maintain and just like take in venture cash to basically keep them afloat more so than any sort of even kind of drive towards profitability. Like I think that has a lot to do with this for sure. But I'm just kind of like interested because there was a big strike on the day that Uber on the stock exchange, and there was like that was kind of like the stated mission of the strike was to kind of like make their big like day in the spotlight.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think things like I just think like we're in such just like, it's kind of like what do you do? The world has changed so much. Like again, like
Mhm.
you're dealing with a company that's had billion dollar of dollars, not just billions of dollar losses since its inception, with like no real, trek even towards less losses, profitability, and it's also like a company that's got, you think international companies like like I don't know, like Coca-Cola, like something that started like 100 years ago and just like built, and then it became like, just remembering like the first McDonald's in Russia, but like that was after McDonald's was like huge, and now you have like this idea that Uber started 1 year and then within 5 years it's like every city in the world, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, so just the something being so international so quickly, something that has just like a weird business model that just seems kind of predatory. Of putting that in contrast with just really traditional workers' rights tools like a strike. The
Yeah.
idea of like someone in New York and someone in Mumbai and someone in Argentina all striking under the same company that do the same job for that company. It's just kind of like, it's just interesting seeing like just such a basic workers' rights tool being like used in such a big way. So, do you think that even works? What do you think something like the strike looks like in 2019 with these like tech companies?
Well, it doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's yeah. What do you think
I don't
now?
think it worked. I mean, I read another article just sort of analyzing the strike because I'm like, well, what kind of success did they have? Did it make a statement other than them just doing it? Like it's more just it's almost like PR at this point where it's like we're striking. It's just to get the message out that like, hey, we need, this is what problem we have with Uber. What I mean? It's more just to get the media coverage so people talk about it, so writers like me will read about it and make a different choice. That's what it's about. But I was reading that it didn't really, at least in where the writer was in New York City, it wasn't affecting surge pricing or how long it took to get a car, and like it was only like for 2 hours of the day. So you're still like working. You're not really on strike for 2 hours. That's it.
I didn't even know it was just that
And
whole day.
they had this stat that I thought was really interesting. It said Uber counted 3.9 million drivers on its platform as of December 31st, 2018. Okay, that's like almost 4 million drivers they have. And it said tens of thousands of those drivers could go on strike before the impact was really felt. So basically, so many people to do this in the way it's set up as a contractor. Like a lot of people don't, you don't have that close connection with other drivers to do it, and you have shit to do. You have bills to pay. You got to, because you're not making, and I know that before are, historically that was the case too. They weren't making enough, but like you were to get lines or the factories every day. It's different. The communication was different. The way you were relating to each other was different. I think that now, I mean, other beyond electing people who are pro union or pro labor law or change and like getting people the basic shit they need to live a life of dignity, right?
Right.
With health care and a basic wage, that's at least keeping up with what it costs to live in a place. Um, so I think that's the big thing, right? Is like getting people who will change the laws or maintain ones we have. But I think other than that, all you can do is like on an individual basis, like try to unionize your work, try to ask for what your is. I've talked about this before, how I will like tell people what I make and what I charge for as a contractor. I've gotten in trouble for it at jobs. Well, one job, only one job. The job that paid me the fucking least, of
Hmm.
course, but like um
And
sort
they
of got
wanted to keep it
reprimanded
that way.
for for talking about telling someone they were hiring on how much I made so she could like ask for a good, she was like new to journalism, and I was like, no, I'm not. I refuse to not talk about it because I think that's how, for me at the time, it was like a women's rights. This is why women end up making so much less money because we're not talking about it. We're not sharing. Like, we don't even know what to ask, and then we've been trained to just think less of what we're worth anyway. So we aren't even asking for nearly enough. Like just having that sort of communication between each other is huge. But now I'm like, no, that's like a workers thing too. Of just, I mean, I wouldn't just out and out say it and ask someone what they make, but I'm like not afraid to talk about that. I think also like not emailing people on the weekend and expecting back. Like in these jobs like that I'm in, these white collar jobs where it's like um establishing boundaries for yourself and holding them, but then respecting other people's too, and not don't work past 5:30 p.m. You know what I mean? Like I know it's
But
that's how
then
they
like
get you, is that they
right,
say,
but
and
you're
then you
talking about kind of like traditional jobs, which I think
okay, so
that
what's your question? Like
I
what?
guess just like then what would you suggest? Because like that's the point. Is like work for Uber, you don't really need to worry about sharing salary information because you all make the same salary. You know, it's 90 cents a mile and 10 cents a minute, and you all, like you can go all, all those. That's they pitch it is that you don't have the pitfall. Like you can sign on whenever you want, sign off whenever you want.
Yeah,
Like
you're independent.
and they're constantly kind of fighting against regulation, which in the short term kind of seems like it benefits you. Like, oh, I don't have to get fingerprinted. I don't have to go, pay for a medallion or all this other stuff. So that's what the topic is about. Is like if you can't strike, and like you said, you can't share salary and you can't unionize and you can't, you don't even really have like a boss. Like you literally like if you have a problem, you you send a message in the app that just goes to some server in India probably, and someone looks at a FAQ and then just kind of sends you back a generic response. So it's not even like you guys can all get together like, hey, we're gonna go talk to Sam about this. And, Sam, you need to pay us more money, buddy. Like there's none of that. So
Yeah,
it's like I don't even know.
I
Like
don't know.
it's just that's like all you're saying. I let you keep talking because it's all good information, but I would just then kind of drill down on you just to be like, that's all great. Everyone do that, but more and more people getting into things like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then their kind of solution is strike because that's what people have been doing for years, and it's like I don't know, and that's why like I guess I would kind of agree with you that I didn't know the raw numbers, and even that guy saying like, well, it seemed about as fast to get it, and there was no surge. Like we've seen that before. They can
Right.
manipulate the surge on the user end to make it seem like it's not busy,
Yeah.
or not, whatever.
That
Like
it's not affected by the
right,
thing.
they can
Yeah.
manipulate that, and maybe you got it in. Like again, like we take
So
Uber.
many
So,
variables.
like you sometimes, like if an Uber is supposed to come in, like if normally from this house we get like we've left from our house in an Uber. Sometimes we get one in 2 minutes. Sometimes we get one in 8 minutes. Like it's usually less than 10 minutes, but it just depends on like if we're lucky enough that one's in the area. So my point is like this guy could say like it seemed to come just as fast, but well, is it usually 4? Was it 8? Like that is still fast, but like maybe there was enough people. Yeah, I don't know. Like my point is like he doesn't have the data. There's
Mm.
no way Uber will release the data. So that's my point. I don't know if it worked. I agree with you. I'm like kind of pessimistic that it would work in this kind of grand scheme that we think it would. But what I would say is I think besides the just voodoo economics of Uber's company in general, I think something that I think it is possible though to assume that not the strike in just raw manpower, but the strike in bad PR could make investors wary.
Yeah.
Like the more and it's like you said, it's not just bad PR like being like a Twitter activist because that does seem short sighted, but it's like you said, like if we keep having these strikes with Uber, if we keep having these like just this kind of outcry that Uber's and like you think about it, like Uber has like there's like Lyft and which it's supposed to be like the nice company, but it's literally the same business model. And then you have like Grubhub and like all these delivery services and like all what is it, Pod, the fucking the grocery delivery service. Like you're having so many more gig based jobs.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like Uber has become the face of exploitative gig work, even though there's a lot of companies that kind of operate on the
The
same
same
business
model.
model.
Yeah.
So that's bad for them. So besides their voodoo economics, I could see investors being like, we don't want to invest in like the face of like exploitative gig economy companies. Especially when there's other companies that seem like they might have a bigger upswing, or like other just tech companies. Like like I told you, I watched a video about this, and they were talking about like literally like other tech companies that could go public soon. Like one was like Bumble. You know what I mean? Just like the
Wow.
dating app going public. So again, like if you're an investor and you like the tech space or the app space, you might just be like, Bumble, it's kind of like a feminist friendly fuck app. Like that seems like a lot more positive.
Yeah.
So if I kind of just like app investing, I'd probably toss my money towards that than Uber, something that just becomes like when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, they're kind of fuck, It's kind of a fuckery company. Like even though so is Lyft, but like Uber's Uber. Like they're thought of as like the bad guy. Like they even have this, German sounding name like Uber.
Uba.
We are Uber, and then we have a camp where you go
Oh, no.
just for a little bit, to train you to drive. It's very okay. Like it sounds so like I just think like I agree, and then if you can get Uber and rideshare and gig economy and these kind of words, contract worker, and if you can get that into debates,
Yeah.
into planks of different, presidential candidates, and
Hmm.
have people talking about it. Have like Congress people and presidential candidates and whatnot. Have fucking Trump mention it at a rally. I'm sure he's going to do a goofy version of talking about it, but then it's in the discourse. I mean, there's nothing else. All the CNN, MSNBC, Fox, there's nothing more they like covering than the dumb things Fox say. But the fact is, if he says, at least it's in the ether.
Hmm.
He's not gonna have a solution for it. But at least then, like, then people on the other side have to talk about it too.
Yeah.
So that's my point. Is like, yeah, I guess that is like, if you're talking, I'm not talking about Twitter activism as the end all be all, but I'm talking about, yes, this kind of public activism that kind of just like makes these companies account for themselves in the political sphere, because now it's like we're kind of like forcing this to be a talked about issue, and again, not just talked about on think pieces and medium articles, but talked about by like people in power.
Well, yeah.
So
I mean, I think that.
strike as a let's say you said it, strike as a PR move more than like a capital move.
Well, I mean, the cause article you shared even said like Buttigieg and am I saying that right?
But chug chug.
Buttigieg, Biden, and Bernie were all in support of the strike.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. That's what they're looking for. It's like
Right.
just talk about it. Let's figure this out
Yeah.
on a national scale.
Yeah.
Even if we have less people at this strike than we wanted, doesn't matter because we.
Yeah. Because and even like if you could strike enough, it just feels like, again, like how much financially can you hurt a company that operating at its best is losing
Losing,
tens
yeah.
of $1 billion
It
a
doesn't
year?
matter.
So the point is that's their fear. Their fear is regulation. If you had to put like a number one fear, to me that's their biggest fear is regulation.
Mm.
So the idea that you would make a stink, and then you might have like a Bernie or someone come out for like, we need guaranteed health care provided by the employers, and we need to tax tech companies at a higher rate. Well, we need to have tech companies, no more contract work. You got to make these W-2 workers or whatever. Then that's when they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's when they either will have to bend to that regulation, or most likely, because these companies don't want to be regulated, they go like, all right, well, actually, kind of, just for no reason, we're going to go ahead and increase salaries,
Yeah. Well, that's
just because like they don't want you to come in, so then they'll be like, what if we do this? Will you not fucking touch us?
right.
So
Well, because Seattle in 2015 passed a law that gave local drivers permission to unionize, and Uber's been fighting it really hard. And like that, this strike like brings that up into an article. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we're left to make our own decision about this company. I don't know. I use Uber though.
yeah,
Do you use Uber?
I drive for Uber,
I know.
so
I'm supporting you.
I mean, it has its benefits, but that's every. I mean,
It's
that's
everything. I
everyone
know.
wants to make everything black and white. I think it does. I think like the gig economy for certain types of people has like a really like it just it's made the job market something. It's created like a new type of job that I think for some people is like really amazing.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I can't shit talk it in that way, but I think they're kind of evil plan for the future of transportation, and I think the way they kind of treat workers now that it's become like, I think they started off as more worker friendly because they were just trying to literally like recruit people into the service, and now that it's booming, like they've kind of become a little exploitative. So yeah, I don't think you can like, that's the thing. It's like that's the thing I kind of do hate about the certain type of like really lefty gung ho, like Shiite lefty people, is like the idea of like, well, this company's bad, burn it down. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, no, like let's by force of government, which is in the most optimistic democracies, our voice, like the government of the people. So through our voice, through the government, which is like how it should work in all best cases. Let's force these companies to do better, either by law or by pressure and threat of law.
Yeah.
But like, there's too many good things about the gig economy. Like, if you do need side work, or you do, like I said, like again, like it's mostly comics talking like, should I do Uber? And it's like, you should, but like if you have 2 kids and you think about making this your full-time job, no.
Yeah.
But like the idea that there is like literally like a gig service where you can be like, you can work it perfectly around your like weird dream, whether it's to be like open a business or start a cupcake company, or like I said, be a painter or a stand-up comic. Like
yeah.
there is like, there's those intrinsic benefits are something that I've never seen in my lifetime. So I'm not willing to burn down those benefits.
Yeah.
I would just like to make them better through force of government, which I think is like what you're supposed to do as a collective democracy, as opposed to just being like, no, we don't like it, bye. That's kind of cancel culture taken into the economic sphere. All right, it's topic 3. Let's close this bitch out.
Hell yeah. Okay, topic 3. I'll read the headline first. Study, cops overstate effects of social media on Chicago gang violence. A Stanford University sociologist ran an after-school violence prevention program on Chicago's South Side, and he basically was studying gang members, and he wrote about it in a journal, basically, and said that a lot of times the threats made on social media are just for show, which seems obvious, right? Like, but interesting example in the article about how this one kid borrowed a gun, had it for an afternoon, and took photos of himself in different outfits in different places. Basically did a photo shoot.
Nice.
So that he could post throughout the month, so it looked like he was on it was different days, but with his gun and looking intimidating, which is I just think so
tight.
Just so surreal. I borrowed it for my photo shoot. But it, so he was saying that it's basically the racial implications of tracking this stuff when it's they're just talking shit. And the police have found, they've broken a lot of gun selling rings, but that's not gang. But I think his point was,
Jackie, this is the fun topic.
I know, but so my question, the fun question is, it's interesting. Go look it up and read the article.
Are you still doing the? Are you still?
Do show notes at JackieManty.com/blog.
Yeah, so post the article in the show notes.
Yeah, you guys can read it. My question though is,
now it's fun.
Now it's fun. If you could get in a social that went nowhere with someone, who would it be, why, and what would you post?
Dude, you.
Oh no.
We gotta start beefing.
We're gonna have a beef.
We're gonna have a beef.
What would you post and why? And why? What's your?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the attitude right there. I don't know. Don't you think it would just be funny to beef?
People would be like, "What's going on?"
I mean, that's the most. I'm thinking sports, when team. That's more interesting,
yeah. Okay.
That's why people be looking, they'll be listening to the episodes, be like, ooh, I think she just took a swipe at him. I think they're still doing the episodes to they're staying together to keep the pod together, but you can tell something. You're trying to look for these little hints, ooh, what did that mean? Or ooh, they got in that fight about the budget, but that was because of that shit. That was because that shit he did. We got he got the receipts.
A fake controversy.
Something. Yeah.
To keep us in the news.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of beef.
Yeah, fighting an elevator.
Security cam footage.
Yeah.
And then how many listeners we have on that next week's episode. You know what I'm saying? So we're beefing.
Meanwhile, we were photographed noodling at a local Chicago restaurant. We're clearly faking
that's
it.
That's a fake.
Or maybe we made up. Yeah.
I think I do love rap beefs because it's the beef. It's the beef that I don't know how you can't love it. It's the beef that creates art. In what other kind of realm does beef create art?
Well, I mean, all of them. That's hello, mad painters of the 1940s.
They beefed?
Yeah, they beefed all the time.
What's a beef? There's a diss painting?
No, but it inspires them to get. They want to be better. They're
that's
so
competition.
cocky.
So okay, I can see the parallel you're drawing, but I think that's like general just competition that's been around forever. I'm talking about
You
like
mean like a work of art made
yeah, you
just
diss someone, you make
specifically
a
to
diss
beef?
track,
Or
and it's like a legitimate like banger song. Like, God damn, it's a good song, and like we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for this beef, because it's literally just a song about this.
any female art is a beef against
Oh Jesus Christ!
men.
This is my beef with the patriarchy. This is my diss poem.
This show is dedicated to female beefs with the patriarchy.
So
I'd
yeah,
want to see that.
so I've always wanted to get in a rap beef, just because
Yeah.
it would be fun to just write about somebody. I guess I've done like roast shows, like only once. I don't really like though.
No, me either.
I like just
It's
comedy.
too mean.
I think the mean is funny, but
I
it just
know.
it feels it just I don't know, just it feels kind of something about like just roast jokes. They just feel kind of
Corny.
corny. Even the meanest, most clever ones always feel a little corny.
Mm.
So, but like a diss song, like
What's
a
your
diss
favorite
track.
diss track?
Ooh, so many.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube No Vaseline is like a classic. So I would say that is high up. That's like a top fiver. I also like Nail in the Coffin by
Yeah.
Eminem.
Who's that against?
I was when he was beefing with what's his face. He had some like really like weird beefs because like weird people would come at him, and he was kind of like an accept all challenger. So,
I love him.
who's the fucking Benzino?
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, and so clearly we
Hey,
know who
okay,
won.
so this plays
Yeah,
into though. So I want to game the system
yeah.
and start a beef with Jets Pizza on
Okay.
Twitter
Okay.
because they don't have a lot of followers. So I'm thinking we could start a fight
Yeah.
and like get them more followers because people want to see how
I
they're
want to
like
see the beef.
throwing the shade back. But then because they're a company that has to have good PR, they're huge. They're the Eminem and I'm the Benzo.
Benzino.
They're gonna have to give me like free pizza for the rest of my life to make up for beefing with me. I just feel like they would give me a gift of some kind.
That's interesting, but I think honestly we'd probably just be better off just trying to get sponsored by Jet's Pizza.
Yeah. But that wasn't what the question was about.
That is true. I'm just saying.
But
Though.
no ideas. Now we have a great idea to
So
get
Jackie
sponsored by
wants to
Jet's
beef
Pizza.
with pizza.
Hey there, pepperoni face.
Yeah, what's your first? Is that your first
Yeah,
tweet?
that's my first one.
I think I would do like Twitter. I feel is always fun when you do like just like a side swipe. You know, like I think my tweet would more be like something like I don't know.
Well, I'm not the comedian. You would be
No,
right.
like I can't even think of just
for
something
me.
like wives are a real chore. No question mark. No or like, like wives are a real chore. Comma
Wives?
no. Yeah, wives.
Oh, like if
So
it
I
was
wouldn't.
our beef, not to Jet's Pizza.
No,
Okay.
I'm saying like our beef. Like, like you're talking about going right at Jet, just making fun. I think it would be because then people like you give people like a little thing like, is he talking about like he has a wife? Is this like about Jackie? Like,
Oh God, Justin, don't do this.
well now I've given it up, so now people are gonna know. But that's how I throw it out, or just be like, yeah,
Let me get text messages. Are you guys okay?
yeah.
I don't know. Listen to the podcast.
Yeah, just like post a meme and just like title it like when one person falls out of love. ... And it's just like
Right.
you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun.
Something like that.
Thanks.
Just like I like the subliminals, you know, because people are like hating.
Yeah.
And then we can get mean once people figure it out, but because then of course like you're gonna go hard at me, and then so I got to clap back as they call it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't
I
have
love
to beef.
the clap back. I don't want to beef with you.
I'll play you Nail in the Coffin after this episode.
Okay.
While I'm finishing getting ready. All right, take us out.
I've been Jackie Manty. Check me out at JackieManty.com. Come hit it up. Go to the blog page and you can see show notes from this week's episode, and I'll post all the links to the article we read and associated links, and I'll also post a link to Twitter's Jets Pizza's Twitter account so you can follow them. I have some work up at Slate Arts Gallery in Chicago's Humboldt Park right now. That's up through the end of May. So go check that out. It's a really cool show. It's a group show of artists around the theme Connection. It's really cool. And I have some writing and artwork featured in Crowded Zine, which is a zine associated with the Crowd Theater in Chicago. Also, You can check them out at crowded. Nope, crowdtheater.com. Just Google the Crowd Theater and you will find the zine page. I feel like people know how to navigate a website now. Just look for the
Yeah.
zine,
It's the Crowd Theater.
thecrowdtheater.com.
ER.
Look for the zine and you can purchase it and get a copy. It's really great. We went to the release show last night. It's fun, good stuff. Yeah, I think that's it for me right now. JackieManty.com. I'm on Twitter at Jackie_Manty. Check out my beefs with Justin. If you want to email me your tit pics so I can sign up, Jackie at
Mm-hmm.
JackieManty.com. Justin, what you got going?
JustinGolak.com. Click that upcoming shows tab if you want to know where I'll be. At Justin Golak on Twitter. At Justin Golak too. I'm doing cool stuff over there, so give me a follow. Gear
Yeah.
first Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Thursday. First Thursday of the month. So got 3 episodes up now. Watch me talk about gear.
So good.
And Instagram. It's the only real good social media. So just follow me on that.
Yeah, I'm at Jackie Manty on Instagram.
Okay, your plugs are over. So if you could. And then I got Justin at JustinGolak.com. Send me those dick pics. So I want to show.
Dick pics with a slight curve.
They talk about like learning, like computer learning, like some way, like was like they were talking about how to do the computer that played Jeopardy. It's like one way of learning is you just you just input stuff, but then there's like it's like a way that like a post office, right? Like they have computers that sort mail. It's like how do you teach a computer what the letter A is? Because the letter A can look so like different fonts. Like we probably know with capital and lowercase. How many like 20, 30, 40 different types of things that we as humans would recognize as an A. So it's kind of hard to describe an A to a computer to be like, oh, it's 2 lines connecting at the top and then one in between. It's like, but not always. So you just got to basically feed it like 1,000 different A's and just be like, A,
Yeah.
So send me a bunch of dick pics so I can do that with Jackie. I'll show her like 1,000 dicks. So she
I was
can
like, where is he going
so
with
she
this?
can pick out my dick aptly just through repetition.
Yeah, I gotta do some training.
She just needs to see like 10,000 not my dicks, and then she'll just know the slight variation. So help her. FemComPod.com.
FemComPod.com. And /low class no dash. And to see all of this great stuff, lowclass.com. That's lo-class.com. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.